Alright guys, welcome back. Had 2-week break, which is great. School holidays, went up to the Blue Mountains, Sydney with the family, which is really good. Come back, now I've lost my, lost a bit of my mojo, to be honest. Just, you know, where I'm up to. Still enthusiastic, but just got to get back into it, find out where I'm at. I'm going to finish off the rudder. Finish that off, get it riveted. I have to flip over the tailplane to rivet a gusset on the other side, so that'll all come off. Then I'm going to strip the fuselage back. We'll get the welds fixed up, coat of epoxy primer. Then we'll come back. I'm going to refit the tail. I want the tail on there. It just gives you that, you know, it's a bit of eye candy. Looks good. Prior to refitting the tail, I think we'll go with the tail wheel. It's going to say tail skid. I'll get the tail wheel installed, get that painted up, installed. We'll build the undercarriage, get that done while it's upside down. So have the undercarriage done and the tail should pretty much go straight back on. As you can imagine, trying to do rigging wise while all this is nicely covered, it's better off to do it now. I cut the wires with like my Dremel, so you got those stinking hot wire fragments would be dropping down on the covering. So I'll get all that done first, even a little bit of painting. The sandy colour primer that I used on the cruiser over here, which I need to take for a fly. I think what I'll do is then just spray the front half black and maybe around the tail wheel, like where the tangs are for the struts. The bits that are going to be exposed, just spray those with the black stuff. Yeah, just all helps in the long run. So this is one of those steps backwards, I guess. So I'm going to pull it apart. No, I'm not. I'm going to finish the fin mounting off, and we'll go from there. Right, rudder. A couple of rivets in the bottom. Hinge there I've done. I've got a 1 inch up the front here, halfway up. Middle nails to centre, 2 nails 1 inch apart, 2 bricky strings, which gives me a centre line, if you can see that, for the fin. Now I need to get this tube, which mounts with this piece to grab the fin in the centre. So I found the best way, just use the trusty old balsa wood, and that'll get me close. It's easy to work with the balsa, and it also gives me the angle. Now I've cut my tube to the same as or about to cut the tube to the same as the balsa, and then the balsa will also give me the angle to set the sander up. Let's do it. Alright, while I was away, got some presents in the mail from some viewers. Thank you very much. You know who you are. So I got this great little, I don't know, 1/72nd or 1/32nd scale Sopwith Camel, which would be great. Instead of trying to talk, you know, oh, you know those poles that go between the wings? Well, now you can point at them. Beauty. That'll go on the desk. Also printed out a Sopwith pup, Airdrome Sopwith pup, which is similar aircraft. The POH, or the Pilot Operating Handbook, which will give me, I haven't read it yet, but you know, give me some figures and that I can work to. You need to know how fast the aircraft goes, and that gives you your, for instance, the rib stitching spacing on the wing. And there's a difference between the rib stitching on the outboard part of the wing and that's in the prop wash, but we'll get to that later. Also got a magazine sent in, fighter aircraft collection. Like I said, I just got back from Sydney last night and got some catching up to do. But thanks to you guys, they wanted to remain nameless, but thanks to the guys who sent those in, and really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, day 2 of procrastinating. So I've got a plan. I've decided, I looked at the fuselage, rang up a few people. Going to take it into the shop, get it sandblasted, send it up to the welders, get the welds fixed, like all of them. rather than just pick and choose which welds I want done and don't want done. Give it a good going over, and you know, I picked off some I call it like chicken poop type welds. Got the flapper wheel onto those, knocked off the little balls, and there's a big hole under the, you know, burnt in the tube. So I need to get all those fixed up. Also some water dribbled out, which is not good. That'd be my fault because I had it in the rain there at one day. So that's the fuselage. Going to say goodbye to that very soon. So I moved on to the undercarriage. Now I spent all day yesterday just trying to nut out the undercarriage. I took a pretty rough guys, I know, but my template from the undercarriage pegs or stubs, whatever you want to call them, on the fuselage. I'll show you those over here. So the fuselage is upside down at the moment. You've got to keep an eye on all the orientation of this, roll it over all the time. But these stubs. Now interestingly, you can imagine when the A-frame or the legs, you know, it's wider at the top than it is at the bottom, so they have to engage and sort of slide on. But you only got a 1-inch tube here and about a 3-inch, these parts here, the legs themselves, are just sort of squashed down tube. So the tube will go in and then sort of slide across to where it needs to go. Also the angles, so I've extended my lines out. That represents the stub on the fuselage. So the angles end out, you know, sort of end up off centre. How I'm going to find the stub when it's fitted to drill a hole straight through the centre, through the high diddle diddle, I don't know, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, like a lot of this stuff. You measure down from the firewall, come back in. I've actually, last night I glued the PVC to the table just with super glue, so that'll just break off. And then today, you can see where we're going. That'll slide on there, get our edge distance and rivet it up. However, that's not all as it seems, because I call these the cricket stumps for obvious reasons. This is the undercarriage, spreader bars terminology, and this is the wheel or the axle with so you got independent suspension, left and right hand side, so independent suspension. But what I've seen on a few other aircraft, what I need to do now is grind off the end of these tubes. I think the leg sits at 110 degrees, so this one's not too bad. The others don't go far enough. So to give me the angle here for the leg to engage, which then raises the centre point of this up. Then back on the leg, I've got to clearly mark the centre line of, let's call this the axle. So if I put the cricket stumps there, well, what am I trying to say? It has to be either level or above. Otherwise, what happens is you can imagine, so that, a recap, the PVC, this bit, slides down to about there and rides in that slot with the wheel and the a retaining ring on the end. Hold the wheel on. We'll get to brakes later. That'll sit there somewhere. So what happens is, if these are below the centre line, you end up with the axle sitting slightly up, which that's why you see the aircraft, the Sopwith Camel with the wheels on an angle, which I don't want. I'd rather them slightly like this, and then the weight of the aircraft will take the bungee and straighten them up. However, we'll go for straight. I don't want to be too clever. Closer to vertical the better, it just looks nice. Say for instance you broke a bungee on landing, the aircraft would limp back with the axle up at the top of the slot. So potentially the aircraft could be on a big lean, and all it is a $5 bungee, but it'll look like a $5,000 repair as you taxi in. So a lot of angles going on. Another consideration, the plans basically say drill 5 or 7 rivets, whatever it is, which if you jumped ahead and did that, that's fine. And then the plans simply say remove a rivet and fit this. But you know, you have to be, as I just previously explained, you have to be very careful where you rivet if you want to keep it neat, to get the cricket stumps and spreader bars to fit exactly. Another consideration is I'm going to need some spaces in here for the one for the bolts. You know, I can turn them around so the head's on the inside, but the consideration there, if you call that 100 mil, come over here, 100 mil, and you only just snick these. So you want to spread them out a little bit more. So I'm going to aim to spread those out to about, well, it looks about 120 mil, if that makes sense. I've given myself 15 mil edge distance. So anyway, talking to myself there, guys. Talking to myself there. Did a lot yesterday, a lot of head scratching, ended up just going home because I was a bit lost. A bit more reading today. I brought in my RA Oz paperwork, got to get the lighting's bad there. Got to get the paperwork sorted out for RA Oz. First bit of paperwork, which I should have done ages ago, is notification of intention to build an aircraft. I fill that out. I know there's been a couple built in Australia previously, so RA Oz, Recreational Aircraft Australia, simply say, oh yeah, Rotec 2800, Sopwith Camel from Airdrome Aeroplanes, been done before, and they should give me the nod. It's not about giving me the nod, I'm just letting them know, I guess. You can register the aircraft already, like I did with the Cruiser, 1656. I have to read up as well on the Camel, because I believe I don't need, well, I'm pretty sure, I don't need the big number on the side, 150 mil number on the side of a replica aircraft. You can just put it in the cockpit somewhere. If I decide to incorporate it, you know, as a little number, that's fine, I guess. But I have to read up on that as well. Also today, I need to look after my engine that's sitting in the corner over there. We're going to pull the plugs out on that, WD-40 in there, spin the engine over just by hand, turn the crankshaft, then bag it back up. I'll do that every couple of months or a month or so. And while I'm standing here, I need to, this is just what goes on in building an aircraft. Haven't done it for a while. Going to drain the water out of my compressor, look after that. All right, progressing on the undercarriage. Just blocked everything down everywhere. I've now put in some screws here. The distance is, you know, within 1/8 of an inch, but as long as they're the same. So my plan there is I've just got some screws for a ruler stop so I can reproduce that. Cut it off there, and then cut it off, and then cut it off there on the angle. Then I've only got 4 Clecos in there at the moment. Take it over the aircraft, offer it up, hopefully it fits on. We'll see how we go. Bit nervous with this one, there's a lot of geometry, a lot of measuring, a lot of what ifs and thinking about stuff. Okay, come on baby. What will this be? Forward or upside down? What's that? Left hand side. Oh. Oh. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. What a yes. Done. Whew. Oh, loving that. Well, that's an undercarriage leg. Let's do another one. Always handy to, I'm building stuff square to the edge of the bench, and then I've got a square, like L angle bolted to the bench. You never know when you need it, and it just come in handy then, just to set the square up, square the bottom of that plate, and then drill away. We're on number 2. This is the left-hand main undercarriage. All right, boys, I guess you could say she's got a leg spread. We go on. Undercarriage. Got there's movement there. So about 2 inches at the top of each. Now we do our spreader bars. What do I have to do? Probably need to plumb bob off the firewall and measure back. Bang. I want that. If that's the firewall, let's call that 18 inches on each side. That's got to be critical dimension. How do I adjust that? I don't know. Well, trim these, I guess. Trim or extend these, which will move. But I reckon, yeah, I think we're going to be pretty close. There you go. Really happy with that. Bit happier now. After yesterday was basically got nothing done. Nothing done yesterday. You just got to jump in and do some of this stuff, bite the bullet and do it. So plenty of jigs and jiggity jig. Seems to have gone okay. All right, guys. Got a bit more done today than what I thought I would. So I'm filming another wrap it up, if you like. I think I did one earlier. We've got the legs on. Now I'm just working out how to find, the stubs, like down here. Here's the stub. Now it's buried in there. I think I'll do like mounting a cowl on a RC model. Tape some aluminium on here and drill the hole so I can flex it up, put the leg on. Should go back down right where the hole is. Pin prick the hole. And I've got some of those 3D jigs just to get the hole on centre. One bolt in there, AN3 I think. Yeah, AN3 bolts on all 4. This one sits up a little bit high on the weld. I might just take the front edge off. But I need to, before I bolt it, just need to check my geometry. Through here is square with the firewall, and then the spreader bar, like I said before, this one here, I've got a little pilot hole there. Pilot hole this side, so I'm going to put a cap. This is where the bungee cord will go over around the axle and back, sort of figure 8 around here. So I'll bend up a C channel just to cap this off. This side I got a bit ambitious. You can see I've just made 2 top sides, if you like, and then tomorrow I'll come in and put those gussets on the back. Just had a quick phone call. So yeah, where do we get to, guys? So just want to plumb bob it all up and finish that off. You just got to think about a lot of these things, just to get a hole through the stub there, nice and neat. You only get one go at this stuff, and you're going to see this. But really happy with today's effort, so going to knock it on the head now. Head home. Think about what we're going to do tomorrow. Well, what are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to put these plates on the other side. Rivet those on. Haven't got much choice now. Just line the slot up. On they go. Square them up. Still use what I've got on the bench over here. Going to clean up the cricket stumps, as I call them. Going to nip the ends off those so they can rotate. Find the centre. Drill a hole on all of those. And then put the undercarriage together as the rain starts to come down. See you on the next video, guys.